Want to understand why people cheat and how to save your relationship? You're not alone. Join our channel and discover real stories of betrayal and how people cope with it. Expert advice on understanding the psychology of cheating. Open discussions and support from fellow members. How to spot the signs of cheating early on. Subscribe now to get the help and support you deserve. I never thought I'd be posting here, but I guess that's what everyone says. 3 months ago, my life was normal. Now I am living in a hotel and speaking to my wife only through lawyers. Here's how it started. My wife Sarah and I have been together for 12 years, married for 9. We always had a good relationship, not perfect, but solid. At least I thought so. We both have demanding careers and haven't had much time for each other lately, but that's normal for couples in their 30s, right? About 4 months ago, Sarah's old college friend Mark moved back to town. I met him a few times over the years and he seemed like a decent guy. Sarah was excited to reconnect with him, which I didn't think much of at first. The first sign something was off? Sarah suddenly became obsessed with her appearance. New clothes, new haircut, spending more time at the gym. When I complimented her, she snapped, "What? I can't take care of myself." The defensive reaction was completely disproportionate. Then came the girls' nights that started happening twice a week like clockwork. Sarah had never been big on girls' nights before. When I asked who she was hanging out with, she rattled off names of friends I knew, but something felt rehearsed about it. "You being controlling," she say whenever I asked questions. "I am just catching up with friends. Why are you suddenly so insecure?" Our sex life, which had been decent if routine, suddenly changed. Either she wasn't interested at all or she wanted to try new things she read about online. When I asked what had sparked this new interest, she accused me of not appreciating her efforts to keep things fresh. The phone became her fifth limb. She take it to the bathroom, keep it face down on tables, and I once caught her deleting messages when I walked into the room. When I mentioned it, she exploded. "Are you spying on me now? Jesus Christ, can't I have any privacy? What's wrong with you?" Late one night, I woke up to find her side of the bed empty. I went downstairs and found her in the kitchen, texting someone at 2 a.m. with a glass of wine. When she saw me, she nearly dropped her phone. "Couldn't sleep," she said quickly. "Just checking work emails. At 2 a.m.? With wine?" I asked. "Don't start," she snapped. "I am stressed about the Peterson account. You wouldn't understand." The next day, I was using our shared laptop when a Facebook notification popped up on her still logged-in account. It was from Mark. "Last night was amazing. Can't wait to see you again." I am not proud of what I did next, but I clicked on their message history. Most of it had been deleted, which was suspicious enough. The few messages that remained were about meeting for coffee at odd hours. When I confronted her that evening, I expected denial. Instead, I got rage. "You went through my Facebook? What the fuck is wrong with you?" she screamed. "You pathetic and paranoid. Is something going on with Mark?" I asked directly. Her face did this weird thing where it looked like she was trying on different expressions: shock, then anger, then wounded innocence. "He's my friend. God, I can't believe you accuse me of cheating. This is exactly why I don't tell you when I meet up with him, because you overreact to everything." Wait, she just admitted she was secretly meeting him. "So you've been meeting him and hiding it from me?" "Not hiding, just not mentioning it because I knew you'd be a jealous asshole about it." That night, she slept in the guest room. The next morning, she was sickeningly sweet, making my favorite breakfast and acting like nothing had happened. When I tried to continue the conversation, she cut me off. "I am sorry I wasn't completely honest about catching up with Mark sometimes. It was wrong of me. It's completely innocent, I promise. Can we please move past this?" I wanted to believe her. I really did. But something still felt off, and the sudden attempt to sweep everything under the rug just made my suspicions worse. I didn't know it then, but this was just the beginning. The real storm was about to hit. Thanks for all the supportive comments on my last post. Some of you asked for updates, so here's what happened next. A week after finding Mark's message, I was still in a haze of suspicion and self-doubt. Sarah had been on her best behavior, attentive, affectionate, constantly checking in, which only made me more uneasy. It felt calculated, like she was overcompensating. One Tuesday, Sarah told me she had to go out of town for an emergency client meeting. She'd be back the next evening. This wasn't unusual with her job, so I didn't think much of it. That night, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. "I think you should know your wife isn't at a client meeting. She's at the Lakeside Hotel with Mark. Room 237. I am sorry to be the one to tell you this." My first instinct was that it was a cruel prank. Then I remembered Sarah had mentioned introducing Mark to her coworkers at a company party last month. Could it be one of them? I texted back. "Who is this?" The reply: "Someone who thinks you deserve better." They've seen them together multiple times. I tried calling Sarah. Straight to voicemail. I checked our location sharing app. She turned hers off. That was new. I am not proud of what I did next, but I was desperate. I drove to the Lakeside Hotel, about an hour outside the city. The whole way there, I kept telling myself I was being crazy, that I find nothing and had to explain to Sarah why I was stalking her based on an anonymous text. But there it was in the parking lot. Her car, parked right next to a BMW I'd seen Mark driving when he came to our house for dinner last month. I sat in my car for almost an hour, physically shaking. Part of me wanted to storm up to room 237, but I couldn't make myself move. Instead, I took photos of their cars and the hotel, then drove home in a daze. When Sarah came home the next evening, she was full of stories about the client emergency and how exhausting the trip had been. "You look terrible," she said, noticing my face. "Are you sick? How was the Lakeside Hotel?" I asked. The color drained from her face. Then, like a switch flipped, she went from shocked to furious in seconds. "Are you kidding me? You followed me?" She was screaming now, veins bulging in her neck. "What kind of psycho does that? I didn't follow you. Someone told me." "Someone? WHO? You lying. They've been tracking me, haven't you? This is insane. You insane." I showed her the text. She grabbed my phone and read it, her hands shaking with rage. "This is bullshit. Some jealous bitch from work is trying to ruin our marriage. And you believed it? You actually drove to the hotel? Do you have any idea how psychotic that is? Your car was there, Sarah. So was Mark's. I took pictures." She faltered for just a second before launching into a new explanation. "Fine. Yes, I was with Mark. He's having a personal crisis and needed someone to talk to. I didn't tell you because I knew you'd twist it into something dirty. He's going through a divorce, for God's sake. I was being a friend. In a hotel room? Overnight? We were talking late and I had too much to drink to drive home. Nothing happened. Is that what you think of me? That I fuck someone else in a hotel room? After 12 years together? Then why lie about the client meeting? Because of this exact reaction. You so insecure you can't handle me having male friends. You suffocating me." She stormed upstairs, and I heard our bedroom door slam. I slept on the couch that night, my mind racing. Was I the crazy one? Was I being paranoid and destroying our marriage over nothing? The next morning, I woke up to find Sarah sitting at the kitchen table, eyes red from crying. "I am sorry I lost my temper," she said quietly. "But you have to understand how hurt I am that you think I cheat." She reached for my hand. "I love you. Only you. Mark is just a friend who's going through a hard time." I should have been honest about seeing him, but I knew you'd be upset. I wanted to believe her. Part of me still loved her. But another part kept seeing those cars in the hotel parking lot, kept hearing her screaming at me instead of just telling the truth from the start. "I need some time to think," I said. "What does that mean?" Her tone shifted instantly, the tenderness replaced with suspicion. "Are you leaving me? I just need space. I am going to stay with Jake for a few days." Jake was my best friend who lived nearby. "So that's it? You walking out on our marriage because of your paranoid delusions?" Her voice was rising again. "All because I tried to help a friend? I am not walking out. I just need." "Get out then," she screamed, suddenly throwing her coffee mug against the wall. It shattered, sending coffee and ceramic shards everywhere. "Go. If you don't trust me, just leave." I packed a bag while she followed me around the house, alternating between screaming accusations and tearfully begging me to stay. By the time I got to my car, I was shaking so badly I could barely drive. What I didn't know then was that Sarah was already spinning a very different version of events to our friends. And things were about to get much, much worse. The week I spent at Jake's place was like detox. Away from Sarah's emotional roller coaster, I could finally think clearly. Jake let me vent without judgment but asked tough questions that made me confront reality. Even if nothing physical happened with Mark, which I doubt, he said, she's been lying, gaslighting, and emotionally abusing you. Is that the marriage you want? I didn't have an answer. Part of me still hoped there was an explanation, that we could go to counseling and fix things. 9 years of marriage isn't something you throw away lightly. Meanwhile, Sarah was on a campaign. She called and texted constantly, cycling between tearful apologies, vicious accusations, and guilt trips about abandoning her. When I didn't respond immediately, she spammed me with messages like, "I guess our marriage means nothing to you. You breaking my heart. I never thought you were this cruel." Then she started contacting our friends. Allie, my college roommate, called me. "Dude, Sarah told me you've been tracking her movements and accusing her of cheating because she has male friends. She says you having some kind of breakdown." Before I could explain, he added, "She also mentioned you've been drinking heavily. Are you okay, man?" I was floored. I rarely drink more than a beer or two. Sarah was systematically turning our friends against me, painting me as an unstable, alcoholic stalker. It worked with some people. Mutual friends started reaching out with concern, about me, not about her behavior. A few even suggested I seek professional help for my jealousy issues. But others saw through it. Jake had witnessed Sarah's meltdowns before. And Diane, Sarah's own cousin, called me out of the blue. "I know Sarah's lying," she said. She tried the same victim routine when her ex caught her cheating in college. The hysterical accusations, the smear campaign, it's her playbook. This was news to me. Sarah had always described her college breakup as mutual growing apart. According to Diane, Sarah had been sleeping with her then boyfriend's roommate for months. "She's always been like this," Diane continued. "When she gets caught, she attacks. Makes the other person look crazy so no one believes them. My mom calls it the family curse." Armed with this new perspective, I decided to do some digging. I checked our phone records online, something I'd never done before. There it was. Hundreds of texts and calls to Mark's number, often late at night or when she claimed to be working late. Some days they talked for hours. I also discovered Sarah had opened a separate credit card I knew nothing about. The statements, which I found while gathering tax documents from our home office, showed hotel charges, expensive restaurant bills, and jewelry purchases that never made it home. The final straw came when I ran into Melissa, one of Sarah's coworkers, at a coffee shop. She looked uncomfortable seeing me. "I am sorry about you and Sarah," she said. "It's got to be tough." "What do you mean?" Her eyes widened. "Oh, I thought she's been telling everyone at work you two separated months ago. That you living with a friend until the divorce is finalized." My blood ran cold. Sarah wasn't just lying about Mark. She was already acting like our marriage was over before I even moved out temporarily. I went back to our house that evening to confront her. I needed answers. Sarah was shocked to see me. She clearly been drinking, and the house was a mess, unusual for her normally meticulous standards. "You back," she said, trying to sound pleased but looking panicked. "I knew you'd come to your senses. Why are you telling people we getting divorced?" Her face hardened. "I never said that. Who told you that lie?" "Melissa from your office. That bitch." Sarah spat. "She's always been jealous of me. She's probably the one who sent you that text about the hotel too." The deflection was so transparent now that I could see it. No admission, just attack and redirect. I saw the phone records, Sarah. Hundreds of calls and texts with Mark. The credit card statements too. Her eyes narrowed. "You had no right to snoop through my private things. This is exactly why our marriage is failing. Because you a controlling, paranoid asshole." She was screaming again, her face contorted with rage. But this time, I didn't flinch. "Is that the real reason? Or is it because you've been fucking Mark behind my back?" The silence that followed was deafening. Then Sarah did something I never expected. She laughed, a cold, hollow sound that sent chills down my spine. "You want the truth? Fine. Yes, I've been sleeping with Mark. For months. And he's better than you've ever been." The words hit me like physical blows. Despite all the evidence, part of me had still been hoping for another explanation. Why? Why not just end things if you were unhappy? Because I didn't want to be the bad guy. She screamed. I wanted you to leave me. To be the villain who abandoned his wife. But you were too fucking spineless to do it. She paced the kitchen, gesturing wildly. You've been checked out of this marriage for years. Always working, never really seeing me. Mark sees me. He appreciates me. So all this, the lies, the gaslighting, turning our friends against me, was to force me to be the one to end things? Don't act so innocent, she hissed. You drove me to this with your emotional neglect. This is as much your fault as mine. I felt strangely calm. I want a divorce. Her expression changed instantly, the rage replaced by panic. Wait, no, I didn't mean that. I was angry, I was trying to hurt you. Mark doesn't mean anything to me. The whiplash was dizzying. 1 minute she was boasting about the affair, the next denying its significance. It's over, Sarah. You can't just throw away 9 years. I made a mistake. People in marriages make mistakes. She was sobbing now, grabbing at my arm. We can go to counseling. Stop seeing him. Please. I removed her hand gently but firmly. Have my lawyer contact you. As I turned to leave, her tears vanished, replaced by cold fury. You'll regret this, she said quietly. I'll take everything. Your money, your house, your reputation. When I am done, no one will believe a word you say. I didn't doubt she'd try. But walking to my car, I felt lighter than I had in months. The worst was still to come, but for the first time, I could see a future beyond Sarah's web of lies. Sarah made good on her threat. The day after I told her I wanted a divorce, I received a call from my boss asking if everything was okay at home. Apparently, Sarah had called him in tears, saying she was worried about my increasing instability and possible substance abuse problem. She suggested I might need time off for mental health reasons. Thank God my boss and I have a good relationship. He was skeptical of her claims, especially since my work performance had been consistently strong. Still, it was a chilling preview of Sarah's scorched earth approach. Next came the money. I discovered she drained our joint checking account, nearly $12,000, the morning after our confrontation. When I called her about it, she was icily calm. I am protecting my interests. You should have thought about financial consequences before throwing me away. I contacted a lawyer that same day, a bulldog named Melissa who specialized in high-conflict divorces. After hearing my story and seeing the evidence I gathered, she advised me to file immediately and request temporary orders to prevent further financial sabotage. Document everything, she said. Every text, every call, every encounter. She's shown she'll lie and manipulate to get her way. We need to be prepared. The next blow came when I went to pack more of my things from the house. Sarah had changed the locks. When I called her, she claimed she felt unsafe after our last encounter. According to her, I had been physically intimidating, and she feared for her safety, a complete fabrication. You'll need a court order to enter my home, she said, her voice dripping with satisfaction. I later learned she filed a police report alleging I had threatened her during our confrontation. No charges were filed due to lack of evidence, but the report existed, another piece in her campaign to paint me as the villain. The real shock came when she filed for a temporary restraining order, claiming a pattern of emotional abuse and controlling behavior throughout our marriage. Her statement was a masterpiece of manipulation, kernels of truth wrapped in layers of lies. Yes, I had checked her phone records, after finding evidence of her affair. Yes, I had gone to the hotel, after receiving information about her whereabouts. Yes, I had abandoned her, by taking space to process her betrayal. Each legitimate action on my part was twisted into something sinister. The TRO was granted temporarily pending a full hearing. 2 days later, as I was leaving my office, I saw them together. Sarah and Mark, walking hand in hand into an upscale restaurant across from my building. They were laughing, completely wrapped up in each other. Sarah was wearing a dress I'd never seen before, her body language more relaxed and joyful than I'd seen in months. The sight hit me like a physical blow. Despite everything, part of me had still hoped there was some explanation, some path back to what we had once been. Seeing them together, so comfortable, so public, crystallized the reality I had been fighting. Our marriage was over long before I knew it. I took photos from my car, then sent them to my lawyer. Melissa was blunt. This helps us. She filed for a TRO claiming she's afraid of you while flaunting her affair publicly. It undermines her credibility. But legal advantages didn't ease the emotional gut punch. I drove to Jake's place and had the first real breakdown since this all began. 9 years of my life, gone. The future I had planned, erased. Jake let me fall apart, then helped me pick up the pieces. You didn't lose 9 years, he said. You had experiences, you grew, you learned. Now you know what you don't want in a partner. The next day, I received documents from Sarah's lawyer. She wanted the house, half my retirement, alimony, and my portion of a family inheritance I received last year. Her filing painted me as emotionally abusive, unstable, and financially controlling. According to her narrative, she'd been trapped in an unhappy marriage for years, prevented from leaving by my manipulative behavior. The sheer audacity was stunning. The woman who had cheated, lied, drained our account, and filed false reports was now claiming victimhood. My lawyer wasn't surprised. This is textbook high-conflict divorce strategy. Ask for everything, villainize the other party, and hope they'll settle quickly to make it all go away. But I wasn't going to roll over. With Melissa's guidance, we gathered evidence. The phone records showing patterns of communication with Mark, the credit card statements, testimonies from friends who had witnessed Sarah's behavior, and statements from her coworkers about her openness regarding the affair. We also filed a motion to dismiss the restraining order, submitting the photos of Sarah and Mark together as evidence that she wasn't actually afraid of me but was using the legal system as a weapon. The hearing for the TRO was set. I was nervous but prepared. What I wasn't prepared for was Sarah's next move, one that would change everything. The night before the hearing, I received a text from an unknown number. You need to see this. I am sorry. Attached was a video file. When I opened it, I felt physically ill. It was Sarah and Mark in what appeared to be a hotel room. They were talking, not realizing they were being recorded. Sarah was laughing, describing how she was playing the victim card to win the divorce. His lawyer doesn't stand a chance, she said, sipping wine. They got the restraining order, they contacted his work, they told everyone he's unstable. By the time I am done, he'll be lucky if I let him keep his clothes. Mark laughed. You terrifying, you know that? Remind me never to piss you off. Sarah smiled coldly. He should have known better than to throw me away. No one discards me. The video continued for another 2 minutes, with Sarah detailing more of her plans to destroy me in the divorce. There was no question of authenticity, it was clearly Sarah, clearly recent. With shaking hands, I forwarded the video to my lawyer. Her response was immediate. Where did you get this? It's gold, but we need to establish provenance. I didn't know. The number was untraceable, and there was no identifying information. But the timing, the night before our hearing, seemed deliberate. Who had sent it? And why? The morning of the restraining order hearing, I arrived at the courthouse with Melissa. We spent hours preparing, but the video had changed our strategy completely. Sarah was already there with her lawyer, a sharp-dressed woman with a reputation for aggressive tactics. Sarah looked nothing like the confident, sneering woman from the video. Today she was playing the role of the frightened wife, minimal makeup, conservative dress, nervous demeanor. When she saw me, she visibly shrank back, a Oscar-worthy performance of fear. Inside the courtroom, her attorney painted a vivid picture of emotional abuse and controlling behavior. Sarah testified with carefully timed voice breaks and dabbed at non-existent tears. She described a marriage where she walked on eggshells, afraid of my unpredictable anger. She claimed my obsessive jealousy had isolated her from friends and that I had stalked her after moving out. When my lawyer cross-examined her, Sarah stuck to her script, deflecting direct questions and circling back to her narrative of victimhood. Mrs. Thompson, Melissa asked, if you were genuinely afraid of your husband, why were you seen dining with Mark Richards near your husband's workplace 2 days ago? Sarah barely missed a beat. I needed emotional support to deal with the trauma. Mark is just a friend helping me through this difficult time. A friend you were having an affair with during your marriage? Objection. Sarah's lawyer jumped in. Irrelevant and intended to embarrass my client. The judge overruled it, Sarah's expression hardened momentarily before the vulnerable mask slipped back into place. "I made a mistake during a difficult time in our marriage," she admitted, voice quavering. "I've been totally honest about that. But that doesn't justify my husband's harassment and intimidation." Melissa nodded as if understanding. "You've been totally honest? So you haven't told friends and colleagues that your husband is mentally unstable? You haven't claimed he has substance abuse issues? You haven't stated that you fear for your safety while simultaneously flaunting your new relationship?" Sarah's lawyer objected again, but the damage was done. Sarah's facade cracked slightly, irritation flashing across her face. "I'd like to submit Exhibit A," Melissa continued, queuing up the video on her tablet. Sarah's lawyer requested to review it before it was played in court. As she watched, her expression shifted from confidence to concern. She whispered urgently to Sarah, whose face had gone completely white. They requested a brief recess to confer. The judge granted 15 minutes. When court resumed, Sarah's demeanor had changed completely. Gone was the frightened victim. Now she looked cornered and furious. Her lawyer addressed the court. "Your Honor, in light of new evidence, my client wishes to withdraw her petition for a restraining order." The judge looked surprised but granted the withdrawal. As we exited the courtroom, Sarah grabbed my arm. The first time she willingly touched me in months. "Where did you get that video?" she hissed, her voice shaking with rage. "I think the better question is, why were you making those plans in the first place?" I replied, removing her hand. Her lawyer pulled her away before she could respond, but the hatred in her eyes said everything. Outside, Melissa was triumphant. "This changes everything. The video undermines her entire case. She's been exposed as manipulative and dishonest. Now we go on the offensive." That evening, I received another text from the anonymous number. "There's more where that came from. Check your email." The email contained a Dropbox link with dozens of recordings, phone conversations between Sarah and various friends where she admitted the affair had been going on for over a year, discussions with Mark about their plans post-divorce, and most damning of all, a conversation with her lawyer strategizing how to create evidence of emotional abuse. I forwarded everything to Melissa, who was ecstatic. "This is it. With this evidence, we can not only defeat her claims but potentially counter-sue for defamation and malicious prosecution." The question of who had sent the recordings remained. My suspicion fell on Melissa from Sarah's office, the same person who had tipped me off about Sarah telling colleagues we were already divorced. But I couldn't be certain. What followed was 3 weeks of rapid developments. Sarah's attorney withdrew from the case, likely fearing ethics violations after being recorded discussing fabricating evidence. Mark suddenly disappeared from the picture. According to mutual friends, he accepted a job in another state with almost no notice. Several friends who had sided with Sarah based on her lies reached out to apologize. Most surprisingly, the aggressive divorce filing was withdrawn, replaced with a request for mediation. The final revelation came during our first mediation session. Sarah arrived alone, looking nothing like either the confident manipulator or the fragile victim. She seemed deflated, almost hollow. During a break, she approached me in the hallway. "I know who sent you those recordings," she said, her voice flat. "It was Mark." I was stunned. "Mark? Why would he sabotage you like that?" She laughed bitterly. "Because I was stupid enough to think I was special. Turns out I wasn't the only married woman he was sleeping with. When he found out I was serious about taking you for everything in the divorce, he panicked. Thought you might expose him to his other girlfriends, husbands. So he threw you under the bus to protect himself. Poetic, isn't it? I destroyed our marriage for someone who recorded me and used it against me." For the first time, she looked genuinely remorseful. "I know you want to believe me, but I am sorry. Not just for the affair, but for everything after. I don't even recognize the person I became. Part of me wanted to find satisfaction in her downfall, but I felt nothing but emptiness. I hope you get help, Sarah." The divorce was finalized last week. In the end, Sarah took much less than she could have asked for, enough to start over, but not the windfall she had planned. No alimony, a fair split of assets, and the agreement that we would never contact each other again. 3 months of silence now stretch between me and the life I thought I had. Some days the anger still overwhelms me, not just at the betrayal, but at the calculated cruelty that followed. Other days, I feel nothing but relief at escaping a relationship with someone capable of such deception. If there's any lesson in all this, it's to trust your instincts. The small inconsistencies, the defensiveness, the shifting explanations, they were all warning signs I tried to rationalize away. Never again. I am staying with Jake while I look for a new place. Starting over at 38 wasn't in my life plan, but then again, neither was discovering my wife of 9 years was capable of such breathtaking dishonesty. For those in similar situations, document everything, get a good lawyer, and prepare for the person you love to become someone you don't recognize. The same passion that once drew you together can become a weapon when turned against you. And if you're wondering whether to confront your spouse about suspected cheating, be prepared for the possibility that the affair is just the beginning of the betrayal, not the end. Update. Some of you asked about Mark. I learned last week that his hasty relocation wasn't entirely voluntary. Apparently, I wasn't the only husband to receive anonymous evidence. 3 other men in our city got similar packages around the same time. One of them was less restrained than me, showed up at Mark's office and caused a scene that led to Mark being asked to pursue opportunities elsewhere. As for me, I close on a new house next month. Smaller than what Sarah and I had, but it's mine. After years of walking on eggshells, the silence is deafening but peaceful. For the first time in a long time, I am sleeping through the night. That counts for something.